Well, at least the birds are singing.
Okay, well, I think I'm back to square one. What does that mean? Well, it means I took the car for a road test and I better give it a bit of a thrash, I'll be honest. A couple of straight long roads I've got round here. And I got back here and we were back to the rough running, the bag of spanners scenario. Just the same as it was when the timing was so far advanced, I didn't even think it would run at that. So far advanced. If you didn't see that video where I, in theory, sorted it all out the last time, I'll stick a link to the video up here somewhere. And you can go back and check that to see what I did and how jubilant I was and how fantastic this car sounded and how smooth it ran compared to how it was before, just by adjusting the timing. But my jubilation was short-lived, and now I've got the same problem back. Now remember, I didn't change anything except spark plugs. Check the compression. Spark plugs had seen better days, so it seemed sensible to do those anyway. Gapped them, brand new spark plugs, NGKs. Took out some old manky looking plugs as well, so I was quite happy what I was doing was probably the right thing, but it doesn't appear to have cured it. So the plan now is, I didn't really want to spend too much money on the car. I think I might have said that. Until I really know what I'm going to do with this, because that's another question on the list, is what I'm going to do with this car. I put the timing light on it when I got back from the road run, and the timing was back to pretty much where it was, really advanced, and it was all over the place as well. Partly due to the fact that I hadn't blanked off the vacuum pipe, and a comment was made on that video to say check the timing with the vacuum pipe disconnected and plugged. Because obviously when you rev the engine, you get vacuum in the car, in the carburetor or in the manifold, and that will then advance the ignition, of course, because that's what it's designed to do. If you're trying to time the car, then that's no good, because it's going to be all over the place. You're just chasing it round and round in circles. So I did all of that, took the vacuum off, tried it again, and yeah, sure enough, the timing was out, and I hadn't touched it. All I'd done was drive it. So the plan now is to swap out this old distributor, which is an original Mk1 distributor, Ford Motor Company, got numbers on it and everything, with conventional points condenser rotor arm. Swap that out for this unit here, which is electronic distributor. Now I've gone for the complete lot, basically because to get this one refurbished was going to cost around about 300 quid and take about 6 weeks. I suspect that there's a fault with this because it would not hold time. Something inside, something's loose, not really sure, it's all over the place, so I'm going to eliminate this by fitting this. This is electronic distributor, it's got electronic module in it. The body is very similar to the old one, in fact it's virtually identical, but it doesn't have the numbers and the name on it. So not really sure where it's from. Could be Chinese, could be English, I doubt it, could be German, not really sure. I don't actually care as long as it works. I don't care where it is made. A lot of people say, oh, Chinese rubbish, this, that and the other. It might be rubbish. If it works, that's all I'm interested in. It wasn't very expensive, it was £100 for the whole thing, with the module and the body. Everything's new. We know everything is new, okay? If it causes faults in the future, well, it causes faults in the future, but for 100 quid, it's worth a punt, I think, against £300 to have this one completely refurbished and electronics fitted to it. So that's going to go in the box. I'm not going to scrap it, I'm not going to get rid of it, because it's always good for a spare, because I know it works, just I'm not sure it works properly. It'll give me a spark at the right time, but if the timing goes out, it's no good, is it? Right, so we're going to fit this. Came from Power Spark, company I saw at the Practical Classics show. Seen them online, do all sorts of electronic ignitions for all sorts of classic cars. That's what we're going to go with. Now the good thing about Power Spark is you don't have to change the coil. You can use the original coil. With a lot of electronics ignition systems, you have to put a new coil on. in this case you don't. It's a plug and play unit. That one will go straight into where the old one came out, connect it up as per the wiring diagram that is supplied with it, and it should work. Time it to where it needs to be and it should work. Don't need a coil, but I have decided to fit a coil as well, because it's the coil that is specifically marketed with this system. So it's a Viper coil. It's a VC110, which is suitable for a car with a ballast resistor, which this car has got. And I'm going to fit new spark plug leads as well, because I don't know the origins and the history of the old spark plug leads. They're Burton Power ones, silicon, high performance, all of that malarkey. But for the sake of 25 quid, and I think the coil was 25 quid, for the sake of 150 quid, I can fit complete new ignition system. Spark plugs, of course, I think are about 15 quid for the set, something like that. I can fit a complete new ignition system and everything's eliminated. Let's have a go at it.
Okay, so the eagle-eyed people amongst you will notice that the distributor is already removed from the engine, because I had it in my hand, and the distributor basically fits in that hole down there. It's a nice big hole, perfect for dropping things in. Please, if you ever do that, please be aware that you are stripping the engine to pieces, because down there is where your camshaft is going to be, or rather your oil pump drive, all sorts of things that are going to go round and round. Unless you are extremely lucky with a magnet tool or a pickup tool, those bits are lost until you strip the engine to bits. So, best thing not to have a bad day and not drop anything down there. How do we know the engine is on number 1 firing? Well, first of all, we've got the timing mark on the front pulley, which is lined up against the 10-degree mark on the block, or on the timing cover I should say, but we might be 180 degrees out. So how do we know we're not 180 degrees out? Well, we know that because we've got number 1 on firing. So if our rockers on number 1, this is number 1 cylinder, if they are loose, it basically means that both valves are closed, and we've just come up on the compression stroke and it's about to fire the spark, which will fire the fuel mixture and push the piston back down the bore and give you the power stroke. So we know that we're on number 1. If you've got that timing mark another 360 degrees from here now, then this will not be on firing. It will be 180 degrees out. So if you're not sure, take off the rocker cover. You've got to move the alternator to get this rocker cover off this bank, because it's in the way otherwise. But basically, if you're not sure, take the rocker cover off, double check that your rockers are loose and your timing mark is on 10 degrees before top dead center. And at that point, the rotor arm should point towards spark plug number 1. Right, so that basically means that we need to get this distributor in the correct orientation, so that when our rotor arm here is in the car, it's basically pointing at number 1 spark plug. But you've got to remember that you need to have room for timing, so it can effectively go anywhere you want it to go, as long as it's pointing at the lead that goes to number 1, and then the rest of the leads are in the correct firing order. But you can't put this necessarily in any place you want to, because you're going to compromise yourself without being able to twist the distributor, because you've only got a little bit of room between the rocker cover and the thermostat housing to get that amount of timing that you need. Now on some distributors, you've actually got them cut out on the rim of the distributor there, which denotes number 1 firing position, so that when it's in the car you don't need to mess around with the cap. You just basically put it in the engine, and it should then, once it's pushed home, it should line up. And as you push it home, because it's got a helical gear on the bottom, this will twist as it goes in. So you don't want to put it into number 1 to start with, because what will happen as it goes in, it will twist round because of the helical gear on the bottom there, as it meshes with the drive on the cam. So basically you've got to keep it just anti-clockwise to where you want it to be, a few degrees, and it should somewhere end up somewhere around about there. That's the plan. Now when the distributor is actually in the car, what happens to hold it basically stop it from turning is that this clamp here fits in that groove at the top there. Okay, so it doesn't go all the way down. There's a shoulder there. That shoulder sits on top of the engine block, and then that clamp goes in and sits in that groove and clamps the whole thing down tight when you've finished your timing, so it can't move. Now I don't think I left it loose last time. I'm pretty sure it was right, so it didn't turn itself. But then again, I'm only human. So if I did, I did, and I've wasted 150 quid. But hey ho, so what? Let's give it a go and put it in. So we just offer it up. The other problem you have as well is that you've got the oil pump drive that is going in up the centre of the distributor shaft. So the camshaft is driving the distributor, and there's a hexagon hole in the end of that shaft, if you can see it, and you've got to get that over a hexagon shaft which goes down to the bottom of the engine to drive the oil pump. So you've got to try and do that and mesh the helical gear at the same time and get your rotor arm where you want it to be. Now there's an annoying little spring clip which gets in the way. We'll just put that down there. I have lubricated everything so it's a nice sliding fit, and we want it to be somewhere there, like that. Now did you see that the rotor arm twisted as I pushed it in? Now with it in this position here, with number 1 pointing that sort of direction, which is where it should be, we've got a nice lot of travel on the distributor body to give us a fair amount of advance timing adjustment and a little bit of retard. Okay, so we can mess around with it when it starts. So that's where we want it to be. That's the first thing. But what we do need to do is we do need to get the bolt, the clamp down in there, which is a bit of a fiddly operation. So you're going to have to bear with me for that one. Good set along those pliers is very useful. Extra long. Until of course you drop it upside down and then you have to start again. Obviously I can't show this on camera, but trust me, it's fiddly. I imagine there's an easy trick to this, and the guys that do this all the time probably shouting at the screen right now and going, you should have left it in and twisted it round or something similar to that. I think I'm in now. I am. That takes a bit of doing, but we get there. And that's done up tight. Just back it off a touch, so we've got a little bit of movement in the distributor, so we can just twist it a tiny bit. There we go. And I'm just going to put a white mark just on the top there, just to show where number 1 should be. Now I have already faffed around with this wiring to tidy it up all a little bit. So basically what I've done to fit an electronic distributor is effectively add in an extra wire. So a conventional system will have an ignition feed, 12 volts from the ignition switch coming up to the positive side of the coil. On the low tension side, on the other side, on the negative side of the coil, that goes off to your distributor, your conventional distributor, to power your points. And then you'd have your high tension lead coming out the middle of the coil. The new coil looks exactly the same, except for it's going to have an extra wire such as this, because I've already wired it in. This basically powers the electronic module, so you need to add in this extra. When you get an electronic module for this, it will give you a wiring diagram with it, so it tells you exactly what you need to do. But one thing you must do is you must get it the right way around, because if you put pos and neg the opposite way around, you will blow the module in the distributor. Reverse polarity, it is not protected from that. And if you get it wrong, you've wasted your money. So make sure you stick with red and black, and you know that red is positive and black is negative. You can't go far wrong. Well, it's seen better days, but it doesn't really matter what it looks like on the outside, again, as long as it works. I know this works, so yeah, it will go in the box, and it's my spare. I'll give it a clean up if I ever need one in the future. I know this will run, and it will run with the system that I'm putting as well, so that's all helpful. So none of this is wasted at all. So yeah, best thing to do, always have a few spares. Classic cars, you never know what's going to happen next. Right, so let's fit
this new coil. Get it out of the bag, it's all sealed up. Now it's a dry coil, which means it can be mounted any way, upside down, sideways, at a diagonal, wherever you want it to mount. I'm going to put it back exactly the way it came off, but you must remember which is positive and which is negative. Now there is a clamp which I can undo, which will then, once I've got it into the mounted on the wing, I can then twist it round so that it is in the correct orientation. And positive was, it was that direction, so positive was over here by the inner wing, and negative was nearer the engine block. And that's important in this case because the leads aren't very long and they're likely to not be able to move them. So we need to put them back exactly as it came off, really. So that's where we're at to. Now it's got slots on this one, so we can put one bolt in to start with. Okay, that's nice and tight. It's a little bit fiddly getting onto the clamp, but yeah, clamp's all clamped up nice, and it's bolted to the wing. That's all good. Positive this side, negative that side, and it should be simple as putting the two red wires back on there and that wire on there.
Right, everything's where it should be. Okay, full disclosure, I've already put the leads from the old set of leads onto the new cap, because I was playing around with this just to sort of make sure everything fitted, and they are currently, the leads are currently in the orientation they were when they came off the old cap, and they're basically on the cap as they should be. Now every cap has got a key, basically, so you can't get it in the wrong place. This one's got a square block on the rim here, just a square block on the rim just there, and that will correspond to a cutout in the rim of the distributor body, and that's the way it will go on, and it won't go on any other way. If it's gone on any other way, it won't sit down properly, so it will go down square as long as you've got the block lined up with a cutout on the body, and everything should work. So I'm just going to put it in there now. Remember where number one is, we're on number one now, so we've got the distributor with the distributor body marked up and the rotor arm pointing at number one, knowing that we're on top dead center on firing on number one. We'll put the distributor cap on. This is the brand new distributor cap, and this should be number one. This one here. Okay, so without further ado, let's stick them all in. Now you can probably tell they're all different lengths, because obviously they've got to stretch further, the ones further at the back. So the long ones are going to be the cylinders at the back of the engine, and the short ones are going to be the cylinders at the front. Simple as that. And then we've got one master lead, which is the coil lead, which is that one there, comes from the coil. We've actually got two master coil leads, two different lengths, so you can effectively decide where you want to put your coil. So if your coil is further away, or you want it further back, or not near the front of the engine, or whatever, you can have it so that you've got two separate leads. You can put your coil where you like, so that the lead will stretch to where you want it to do. So I'm going to use a short one because the coil's up the front. I'm not sure if it's going to pick it up, but if I take the advanced pipe off, that should drop back, and it's just picking up 10 degrees before drop dead center, 10 degrees before top dead center. And if I put the advanced pipe back on, it doesn't move, doesn't change until I rev it up, and that will just hold it off the now it's just slightly advanced. As soon as I take the vacuum pipe off again, we're back to where it should be. Block off the pipe so there's no vacuum, there's no air leak into the carb, and it is It's now running so much smoother than it was. Just back to where we were after the first attempt. Picks up nicely. Picks up nicely, drops back. It's a little lumpy there, but that may be to do with mixture or fuel, but there's nothing more I can do. It's new distributor, new cap, new coil, electronics, new leads, new plugs, timed. It's hanging in exactly where it needs to be on the timing mark. Got a little bit of a tap in there somewhere. Sounds like that's front cover. And you've probably noticed I've also done the valve clearances, the tappets. They've got a little bit of a knack to them, so I will probably go through that as a little bonus feature on how to do the tappets on these, because they're not your standard rocker arms on a rocker shaft. But yeah, I'm quite happy with that. One more rev. I think that's pretty good, don't you? Well, there you go. Let's hope that that has cured that rough running. It looks promising. It's a lot better than it was. It quite likely could have been those plug leads that were on there, because they were quite old and I do not know the history of them. I don't know how long they've been on there. They do break down over time. It could be that. I'm fairly certain that there is possibility that there's a problem with the distributor in itself, but I've got the old one. I can always swap it back if I had to. Keep that as a spare. The coil also, I've got everything I can keep. I can keep them all as spares. They might be second hand, but it saves me holding brand new stock when I know stuff works, to get me out of trouble. So we'll call it done on this video. Timing looks good. It sounds like it's running nice. Next thing will be road trip. So if you like what you see, please put a subscription on the channel so you can keep up with what we're doing with the Capri, with the Jaguar, with the Land Rover and all the tractors we've got on the fleet. And yeah, it'd be great to have you along. Just need all the support we can get. Just add to the numbers, watching the videos and enjoying what we do. If you want to send a comment, and please put a comment on the video. Like it if you like the video. Check back on all the playlists that we have. Like those, watch those, comment, share, send us messages. If you think we're doing it right, great. If we're not doing it right, tell us. Remember, there's always more than one way to do a job, and I'm doing it my way. And most of the time, it works. Take care. See you next time.